That would be Pittsburgh said no one ever. And talk about another rookie quarterback performance. Dano, Steelers' third-round pick, Drew Allar, got some playing time yesterday and looked pretty good.
I thought he was exceptional. The big thing for Drew Allar was it finally felt like and looked like the player and the production matched the hype. I've been following Drew Allar since he was a true freshman at Penn State, such a highly recruited young man. And the potential was always the potential. It never actually played itself out on the field. And last night, what stood out was the feet were infinitely better, infinitely cleaner than his time at Penn State. The Mike McCarthy effect. If that is the starting point for this young man who's 6'5", 240 pounds, and could throw the ball through gale force winds. Gale force winds?
Gale force.
Yeah. Gale force winds.
Yes. Tropical storm.
This is an outstanding start for this young man.
This is exactly what you want from a third-round pick. You want to be able to develop a guy. He can sit and watch, whether you like Aaron Rodgers or not, where you believe he's if he's going to be a mentor. Aaron Rodgers is going to mentor him because he's sitting in a room. Aaron Rodgers, every question, every statement, everything he says in a room, everybody's listening. So this whole narrative that Aaron Rodgers is not a very friendly person, I think it's hogwash. He is a guy, and he has changed, and he also understands what this can do for the Pittsburgh Steelers overall when he can sit back. We all want to sit back and say, I helped that kid.
Sure.
And he has the opportunity to help a kid, just like Jordan Love, that you can go, people on the outside may not know our relationship, but the folks on the inside know that he really cares and he wants that young man to do well.
Yeah, that was underlined when you saw Jordan Love and Aaron Rodgers greet each other in the pregame last night. It's clear that there's a relationship there and that it was a good one. So this highlights the parallel tracks these Steelers are on right now. You hire Mike McCarthy. In part, one of their stated reasons for doing so is they felt like he had a track record of developing young quarterbacks. Also, you're hiring him because you think he's the experienced coach that can get you past the first round of the playoffs this year with Aaron Rodgers. So the Steelers are trying to accomplish two things at the same time. Win now and find their long-term answer at quarterback. Is third-round rookie Drew Allar going to be that? I don't know. They don't know either. He's a third-rounder. But they can use this year to find that out to some extent and then set up what they need to do next year. Will Howard, the sixth-round pick last year. Drew Allar, third-round pick this year. Some options, but they're not overly committed to either one.
If you took just the positives of Drew Allar, whether it was his traits or his tape, he would be a first-round potential quarterback. Okay? Now, there was downsides, maybe because of some of the things that were a part of Penn State when it comes to the lack of players on the perimeter, his lack of own development, and whether that was
late game turnovers in big spots.
Totally, yes. Shrunken moments, no question. But the why of that. But if you are just playing the hits, there's first-round potential there. And so I think if you're the Steelers and you've been seeing some of the stuff that you've seen and by reports in practice from the young man, and you watched it last night, there's a lot to sit back and go, all right, let's continue on this track of developing this young man, because maybe they didn't need that first-round pick at the position, and they have a guy in Drew Allar that's certainly part of that conversation.
Steelers, go ahead.
We definitely have seen actual first-round draft picks not look that clean and not look that fluid.
100%.
So we need to stop worrying about where a guy gets drafted. We need to start.
What do you look like?
Yeah. What do you look like, and can you play? Yeah. Right. And then what we don't get to hear, we get to hear behind the scenes. What we don't get to hear naturally, a lot of times, is what he was not given in college. A lot of these college coaches, unfortunately, don't have the ability to coach the player. They end up coaching the playbook. Because if you take your time trying to develop a kid, he gets mad.
He's gone.
He gets mad when Chick-fil-A is not open on Sundays on campus, and it ain't open nowhere.
Yeah.
But they think because my NIL money, and I'm the guy that you're supposed to move mountains for me. That is the problem with college football. But now you don't have that. You're in the pros.
So you end up with Drew Allar sitting there in the third round. You're the Steelers. You're thinking long term. Hey, Mike McCarthy, what do you think? Well, there's talent here. I can fix the feet in one off season. Let's see if we can get him into Bill. It's only a third-round pick. If it doesn't work out, it's not the end of the world. It's not like we're taking Kenny Pickett in the first, to use a random example. But I think I think if you're a Steeler fan, you come out of last night thinking, boy, it'd be fun. It'd be fun if the Penn State kid turned out to be the guy.
What would you do with Allar for the next start? How would you approach it?
I would continue to just focus on the development of his feet. You know, I think that the more you expose him to different situations and settings and getting him to play faster and quicker is going to be important. But there's only so much of that you can control. You can simulate some of that in practice, but exposing him to different situations. Maybe you're getting him some reps with, defensive linemen that might be more of the starting quality defensive lineman and seeing how he handles that. But if this young man continues to work at it, there's only, a huge trajectory to go up. I think if you're the Steelers who are walking away, I'll mention Jeremy Bernard as well. I thought Jeremy Bernard last night was very impressive for the Steelers too. So, you're sitting there going, all right, there's a lot that we've liked from our rookie so far.
11 penalties for 134 yards.
I mean,
welcome back preseason football. Coming up, what's a realistic Super Bowl win? It looked pretty good here.
This is awesome. This is the stuff we didn't necessarily see a lot at Indiana. Watch him underneath the center, dip on the fake, one hitch, ball comes out in between three defenders. This is flawless.
Malik Benson for 19 later in the drive. Steve Smith, we've seen the arm. Now let's see some legs.
Seeing some legs, showing the defense, keep your eyes down the field. That's always important. And that will be key for a young man that's a rookie.
Graz, here we go. We're going to finish it off later in the drive. Jack Bash for the touchdown.
Yeah, he looked awful good when he's throwing it. I didn't love the run. He put himself in harm's way.
Oh, jeez,
Jackson Dart.
In a meaningless game.
Put him in a bubble.
Finishes 10 for 16, 97 yards, 1 touchdown in his debut. Let's talk about it.
Orlovsky,
Jeremiah Love, third overall.
There's shades watching him run right now. A little bit of Adrian Peterson. He's so big and fast and sudden and physical. You saw the spin move. You saw the speed to the outside and the physicality, and then we're going to get to a hurdle. But if you're a Cardinals fan watching this young man run the football, this gives you so much hope for your future.
Good.
Steve Smith, right here on the draw. Take me through it. I mean, defense drops back. Here's an opportunity.
Here it comes.
Look how it goes over there. Hurdles the guy, keeps going. Take him out. Take him out. You can just see him, how he hits the edge, pats her forward, right? Eyes, you can see him just steady, never standing still, just attacking, running down.
Grad's been calling it about how good he is.
Yeah, 11 carries.
He should have more guaranteed money than Jahmyr Gibbs and Bijan Robinson.
58 yards. Cardinals go on to win 27-14. All right, so let's begin with Mendoza. What do we think of the debut of the number 1 overall pick?
Yeah, he was clean. He was sharp. There was competency, and it looked like he was in complete control. That's a good sign. You saw a couple third down conversions, which I loved. The ball came out at the right time to the right place. He made some decisions with his legs. He got through his progressions. We saw the underneath center play action pass that's in between those 3 defenders. So everything that you had hoped to see on display last night, you got a good glimpse of it, and there was a little bit of adversity with some of those third downs, and he ends off having a really impressive drive, which was his second or third one with that touchdown pass. I think nothing but good last night for the Raiders and Mendoza.
I thought he did a really good job of just being a rookie. And what I mean by that is sometimes mistakes. He looked like deer in headlights. That is the whole purpose of a rookie, and that's the whole purpose of preseason. Get the jitters out. Understand that is his first job, real live bullets on the job. He's going to make some mistakes, but allow him to make some mistakes while they count, and in the preseason, they count the most.
Last night showed why he was the number 1 pick to some extent. It also showed us why the Raiders are doing this the way they're doing it. Kirk Cousins' first drive, he looked like he had mastery of the offense, which he does, because he's played in it before, and he's played in the league 15 years. And they want to wait, they want to hold Mendoza off until they feel like he's ready and that they're ready for him. They got to figure some things out at wide receiver. They got to figure some things out on the offensive line. So I think what we saw last night was a guy in Mendoza. We know when the lights come on what kind of player he is, right? So even if he wasn't this great in practice, it makes sense that, it's a game now. Like, he hasn't played in a game since the national championship game. Was pretty good that night. Knows about the big moment. But he can take his time because they believe Cousins can operate the system the way they need it to while he gets up to speed. I think if you walked away last night thinking, I understand what the Raiders are doing.
Worth noting, Mendoza was pressured on 39% of his dropbacks last night. That's a storyline to watch, given the struggles the Raiders had protecting Geno Smith, who was sacked 55 times in 15 games last year throughout the course of the preseason. Let's go from Vegas to the Vegas of...
Lily Yip drinks in